We'll reconvene back here. So if you have an interest in them, please let Alicia know, and she will send them to you electronically. Why is it all the investor hands that are going up?
We'll just send it out.
We'll just send it out to everybody so that you have it. First thing I would like to do this morning is introduce the new chair of the AICPA Peer Review Board, Andrew Pope. Andrew and I had a nice conversation this morning talking about previous peer reviews. An important component of the process for the audit profession. And Andrew, thank you for being here, and thank you for taking on that role. It's an important role. I'm looking around because I don't see Sue Carter. Sue Carter is a trustee that may be joining us this morning, so if you see Sue, please take a moment and say hello to her. I've had the opportunity to, when I report to the FAF trustee meeting, at the FAF trustee meetings, to speak with Sue, and she's a wonderful trustee, really cares about, all of the capital markets activities that we are all helpful in. Now to what I would call the more routine things that I do every time, so that we make sure that the folks that are on the audio cast can hear us. As you recall, microphones, you know how they work. Just press the button, green light goes on. Please make sure you use them. I always forget. Alicia turns mine on for me. But please make sure you do use them. The other thing that we do, just in order to help, again, the folks around or that are on the audiocast, is we just run around the table and introduce ourselves. Hopefully they can recognize some of the voices and have a sense for who is speaking when we do talk. So I'll start, and then I'll go to my left, and we'll just run around the room quickly. Andy McMaster, Chair of FASAC.
Alicia Posta, FASB staff.
Sarah Mall, FASB staff.
Nick Capiello, FASB staff.
Shane Gahanik, FASB staff.
Andrew Pope, I'm with Grant Thornton, currently chair of the AICPA Peer Review Board.
Avi Berg, Elm Ridge Management.
Dave Sullivan, Deloitte.
James Andrus, CalPERS.
Jim Croker, FASB.
Cindy Jameson, Public Company Board Member.
Gordon Edwards, Marshfield Clinic Health System. Kevin Mixon, Mira Global.
Marcia Hunt, FASB.
Karen Garnett, Proskauer.
Alice Jalla, Microsoft.
Mary Holtzel, Cigna.
Christine Bodison, FASB.
Randy Oberdick, BKD.
Betsy Grassick, Morgan Stanley.
Russ Golden, FASB.
John Betrode, CME Group.
Sydney Garmon, Crow.
Bob Dacey, U.S. Government Accountability Office.
Samir Gokhale, formerly Fifth Third Bancorp.
Ted Timmermans, Williams Companies.
Gary Buser, FASB.
Lisa Coleman, J.P. Morgan.
Zach Ast with CFRA.
Rudy Bless, Bank of America.
Megan Zaitsman, PCAOB.
Hal Schroeder, FASB.
David Schmid, PwC.
John White, Cravath.
Kimber Bascom, KPMG.
Sue Cosper, FASB.
Amy Tiener, Alphabet.
Mark Lamont, formerly of Moody's.
Jeffrey Hales, University of Texas.
Jonathan Wiggins, SEC staff.
Mike Morrow, Cabot Corporation.
Thanks, everybody. Today we're going to cover two topics in a slightly different format from what we've done before. The first topic will be done in full group discussion without breakouts. That's going to be disclosures for interim reporting. After we conclude that, we're going to begin the second topic, which is really a broad topic on technology. We teed this up from the perspective of AI, artificial intelligence, but practically speaking, I think that the topic is much broader than that in terms of the potential implications to financial reporting and disclosures. So I think you can tell from the pre-read materials there's an opportunity for pretty broad discussion on that topic in terms of where technology broadly and AI in particular may benefit future financial reporting and disclosures. We're going to, after that group discussion, which will be about an hour in the morning, we'll break for lunch. And I'm going to ask everybody to allow me to interrupt their lunch in the middle because I would like to take a few minutes to basically honor those that are going to be departing from their roles on FASAC. It's a big group this time. It's about their total of 12. I think 8 folks are able to be here today, so I'd like to take a few minutes and just thank them. I'll do that in the middle of lunch while you're eating. We'll reconvene back here after lunch, and that will be actually, I shouldn't say that. We're going to go directly from lunch at 1 o'clock to breakouts. and then come back in after that for the group discussion on technology. As we have always done in the past, and if you'll permit me, if you want to comment in this room, just put your nameplate up, and we'll keep track of who has an interest in commenting. And if your comment is directly on point with the comment that is currently being made, then use what I said before, the touchdown sign. Just put both hands up and you jump the queue and go right to the top. We're going to begin, as we always do, with highlights from the FASB, the SEC, and the PCOB. And I'll start with Russ, if I may.
Thanks, Andy, and good morning, everyone. The FASB chair report for the third quarter is in your advanced materials. I'm not going to talk to that. I'm going to talk about some things that we have done since then and some activities that we plan to do the remainder of this year through the second quarter and the end of my term in 2020. I gave a speech about XBRL, the importance of XBRL, the importance of technology for investors, and how we have used XBRL to improve the standard setting process. If any of you, that is on our website, if any of you would like help in navigating to find that, we're happy to give you that help. The board also concluded and altered some effective dates primarily for private companies so that we can give additional time for private companies and smaller reporting companies more time to learn from public companies, as well as changing the effective dates for long-duration insurance accounting. The board plans to monitor this philosophy, which is a spread of 2 years from large public companies to small public companies and private companies, over the next couple of years to ensure that we are able to learn from public companies to help ease the transition for private companies. We're planning on a public roundtable in the first quarter or early second quarter of 2020 to discuss how the implementation for lease accounting has gone for public companies, to see if there's anything that we need to improve upon for private companies. So far, we are aware of some observations that determining the discount rate could be improved and perhaps embedded leases. Over the next few months, the board plans to finalize the transitional relief for as the country and other parts move from LIBOR to SOFR. That has been concluded upon by the board, and it's in final drafting stages. Next week, the board will begin the redeliberations on distinguishing liabilities from equity and get updates from the staff about the field work we've done on financial performance reporting and segments. We also look forward in the coming months to deciding how to proceed on the results of the invitation to comment on goodwill, and if we should proceed to reintroduce amortization of goodwill for public companies or stay with an improved impairment model. I also understand that we will be asked shortly to finalize for exposure the improvements to the conceptual framework, specifically the elements, and the board has authorized the staff to proceed towards an invitation to comment on the conceptual framework on measurement. And we hope that all of that will be done before the middle part of 2020. That gives you a little bit about what we've done, a little forecast of what we will be doing. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Russ? Russ, over the 4 years that I've been here, and I take a look at your report every time, it just amazes me how much over that 4-year period the board has taken on and accomplished. And it doesn't seem like that list of let's just say current activities ever gets any shorter. Okay, let's move to Jonathan.
Sure, great to be here today. From an SEC perspective, a few highlights. We recently announced just this week that both John Van Osdal and Paul Munter will be joining the staff as Deputy Chief Accountants. John over the accounting group and Paul over our international group. OCA is structured in 4 groups: accounting, international, professional practice, and legal. So we're happy to have them joining us. We also have a posting up for our 2020 Professional Accounting Fellows postings. Applications for those positions are due on January 10th, and details are on our website. We also recently issued a new staff accounting bulletin 119. That bulletin is really an update of our prior guidance in SAB 102, on determining the allowance for loan losses. Consistent with our messaging over the last year or two, we plan to update our previous guidance just to reflect the view that a lot of the previous guidance on the incurred loss model would also apply to the new expected loss model under the new credit losses standard. Consistent with prior years, early next week we'll be issuing an OCA statement that lays out some of the highlights of the work that we've been doing over the past year, and also lays out some of our priorities going forward. So be on the lookout for that early next week. And then one last thing I'll mention is that the Division of Enforcement at the SEC recently issued their annual report, lays out some of the areas of focus over the past year and going forward, gives some great statistics about the cases that they've brought over the last year, including details on highlights from major financial reporting and accounting cases, in case you're interested there. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Jonathan? John? Oh, I'm sorry. John? So you might know more about it than I do, John. I just know that it there is a realignment. A lot of the organization's structure has changed. There have been combining of groups, people moving around, but I think that they are clearly focused on moving forward under this new structure that I think will be very effective with to use the resources wisely that we have.
And the chief accountant, Kyle Moffett, is now running the disclosure operations in CorpFin, which is 2/3 of the division.
He's very busy.
Thanks, John and Jonathan. Jonathan, our first topic this morning is going to be on interim reporting. And just, I'll give you an opportunity when we get there if you would like to make some comments based upon the actions that the SEC took a year ago. That's really, I think, prompting part of what the FASB is doing now. Let's move on to Megan.
Sure, thank you, and good morning, everyone. So from the PCOB's perspective, a couple of updates. We have a new board member, Rebecca Goshen-Gerada, who was appointed on November 4th, so she's joined the board. On November 19th, the board approved its 2019 to 2023 strategic plan and the 2020 budget. It was an open meeting with open statements by the board members. Those are posted on the PCOB's website, so if anyone is interested, you can go and see those. And they all of that will be approved by the SEC, I think, shortly. On the standard setting side, on quality control, at the staff level, we're getting ready to present a concept release to the board for their approval, and this is expected to seek input on the approach that we might take to revising the PCOB's QC standards and how we might deal with specific topics. So that's intended to inform a future proposal down the road. On auditor reporting, we're continuing to monitor CAM implementation. As you know, we're now into probably the second round of seeing the CAM communications from the September year ends. So we have folks at the PCOB who are busy analyzing that, synthesizing what we're seeing. We've done an early round of inspections, a very small selection, and we're busy kind of gathering up the feedback from that, and we expect to do a little bit of a report out in the near future on that. It is really clear, though, that firms made very significant investments to support the implementation. Just from a CAM stats perspective, I think as of last week, there were around 189 filings, more than 320 CAMs, an average of about 1.7 per issuer, and then the numbers ranged from 1 to the high of 4. The most common areas are goodwill and other intangibles, revenue recognition, taxes, and business combinations. On the data and technology side, so I'm looking forward to our discussions later on today, because that continues to be a very active area for us. We've had some ongoing engagement with our task force, which comprises auditors, preparers, academics, and audit committee members, and investors. And we've been talking to them now for some period of time. We're getting ready to start a deeper dive into the area of how auditors use technology to